in the bloopers, aren't you?
Probably.
In the bloopers, aren't you?
Probably.
In the bloopers, aren't you?
Probably.
Hey folks, welcome to the farm.
Start that over again. I wasn't recording. Yep.
Hey folks, welcome to the farm. It is July 5th. I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Patrick, say hello.
Hi.
Hi. Man, it is muggy. My screen's fogging up.
All right, this is the first time we've done this. We are
Run that down that way it doesn't echo.
absolute amateurs.
Let me know.
See, he's implanting your opinion in your head so that you have to. That's how brainwashing works. You're not asking for an opinion. You're asking them to agree with you.
Absolute meatloaf goodness right there.
Isn't that
The crazy thing to me is watch her
nice?
cut this
With
open.
bacon, let's cut into this.
Oh.
Let's cut it open.
This is what I grew up with, is these two imbeciles.
I'm at the Niagara Falls border crossing, and I can't get these goats and chickens off the trailer and into the canoe to get across the river.
Welcome to the stream, everybody.
Hey, folks. Welcome. Man, they're streaming in now. So I think let me mute this. I think I greeted everybody that I think was in here prior to the live, because I got on a little bit earlier before Rick turned on recording. So we got Simply Jan. Jan from Simply Jan Homestead in here. Gail's Southern Living, Twin Brook Acres. Who else? Walsh Farm. So Tony, welcome, sir. Voon Child. Gail's Southern Living, Twin Brook Acres. Paula Wells. MB Heritage Farms. If you haven't seen MB Heritage's short from this week, check Michael out. He looks like an Eskimo. You know, he's in North Carolina, so I don't know how you look so like an Eskimo in North Carolina, but check it out. It's pretty funny, or at least it was funny to me. Who else? Lori from Lori's World, or it could be Mom, probably Lori. Scanning down through here. Keto Homestead with Jess, welcome. Kid Family Farm. I saw a Bomber Steve in here somewhere.
Bomber Steve's in here. Jules Small Gardening.
Jules Small
Hey,
Gardening.
Nunya, Texas. Nunya, Texas on the back corner.
Texas, yep. So we were trading some rat killing stories with Nunya, Texas. So that video that came out this week is not the end of the saga. That's the beginning of the saga.
That's just one through.
It continues. I didn't mention the one thing that has worked that I've been using all along, but it takes away the satisfaction of seeing a dead rat. We'll cover that in the next episode. It works pretty well.
It was touched on briefly, but yeah, it's worked the best. It turns them into gargoyles.
Yeah, I guess I can share it. So I'm up at Tractor Supply. And I'm looking at all of these different traps and stuff, devices that they've got. Because now I'm in the heat of my frustration with this rat problem that we're having. And you know, he starts Sweet Pea Farm, New York. Welcome. I'm sorry I missed your live. I come in a little bit late from work, had to eat, and then get up here. Usually I can catch the last 30 minutes or so. So I'm sorry I missed you. They come on at 6 o'clock just on Wednesdays, just before our live. So check out Sweet Pea Farm, New York, if you got some some time to spare in the hour prior to this live next week. But I digress so quickly. So I'm at Tractor Supply, and there's this fella standing next to me, and he's saying, and he's looking at these rat traps just as intently as I am, and he says, "You got a rat problem? You know, you got to appreciate where we live," and that's just it's just good folk. And he says, "You got a rat problem?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a rat problem. You know, I was talking to my exterminator. Now, I've never met this guy, this my exterminator, because I work 40 miles away from home. So he always comes while I'm at work. I've never met him. We've had the same guy servicing our house, same company since
we moved out we moved out to Baker County.
Since 2004. And so what was that, 16 years? I've never met him. I've talked to him on the phone and never met him. So I'm standing at Tractor Supply looking at the rat traps. And I say to the guy, you know, my exterminator has talking to him on the phone, and he says to, you know, take a piece of the meat from the bacon and wrap it in string, because they won't be able to pull that off of the bait holder on the traditional trap. And he says, "What's your name?" I said, "My name's Rick Robinson." I said, "What's your name?" He said, "I'm the guy you're talking to. I'm your exterminator." So he says, "All right, so I'm going to give you the insider information, because a lot of people don't like it when I give them this, because they think it's inhumane. I don't think it's inhumane at all. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it works. So far I've cleared the rats and mice out of my front coop, and I have cleared them from my garage. I still have not been able to clear them from my back chicken coop.
But we have no evidence.
But I have no evidence that it works. So what do I mean by that? So what he says is take a few tablespoons of your chicken feed, since that's what they're accustomed to eating, and then take a couple tablespoons of quick setting concrete and mix it together, because the concrete and what hardens will coat the chicken feed. And sure enough, I put that down in my garage, and they took it inside of. It was gone the next morning, that few tablespoons. And I saw noticeably less rat evidence. So then I put it in the chicken coop. But so the chickens couldn't get it. I took it and put it inside of a milk crate, and then weighted the milk crate down. So the chickens can't get into it, but the rats can certainly run through the holes of the milk crate. It was gone the next morning, and I have not seen a rat in that front coop ever since. So that was about 2 weeks ago. And I've done now the same thing in my barn, and it works magnificently. So that'll be in my next. That's the
like I said, the only thing that is unsatisfying about that, or you're kind of left scratching your head, did I get them, is the fact that they're, like Pop said, there is no evidence.
Right.
You just
I want to see a dead rat. That's what I want to see. Mm-hmm. That would make me super, super happy if I saw a dead rat laying there caught in a trap. But I haven't got that with my concrete solution, but it works. It works really, really well. So I'm still testing that pneumatic CO2 type thing back in the back coop. Hey, we got Brian from Castle Hives in here. I think Brian's been in some of our lives in the past. He's an occasional visitor to the channel, but Brian's going to be on here next week. And Brian has a beekeeping channel, and you probably see him around a lot of the homestead lives and comments and stuff. So looking forward to that one. We need some help in our bees. We need a lot of help.
See, that's the thing though, Paula. I don't think so. The amount of concrete that they are consuming, I mean, it dries them up. And then not to mention, this is kind of the gory portion of it. Micro Farmer Drop said hey Rick, I don't see the link. But they consumed so much of this concrete that, I mean, when's the first time that you put out that mix, Dad? I mean, it was over a month ago.
Well, it was probably 6-8 weeks ago or so.
Yeah. So, and we haven't smelt a single rat. So, like I said, it's just turning them into gargoyles.
I can't say that I have not smelled them. I've smelled them under the front coop. I haven't smelled them in my garage, because I don't think they were living in my garage, or at least one wasn't. I know one was, but I got him with a traditional trap.
Talking about the one that was up in the front.
Yeah,
up in the ceiling.
Back by the wood pile.
I swear, I walked into that barn one day, and I told Papa whenever the very next time I seen him, I said, I found the culprit. That joker was like this big. I mean, he was massive. He was
We caught him. He's like 12 inches long.
That was a rat. That was not a mouse.
So we're still waiting on the outcome of it. So I've reset some of the traps. So we're going to be in good shape. So that'll be the next few episodes. So what else we got on here? So we got a few shout outs tonight. We got Lee's Arkansas Bound in here now. Rick got Nunya, Texas on the back 20. I was so enlightened last week knowing that's the better half, or I guess say he's the opposite of the better half. I don't know which one's which of Little Frenchie and Big Texas. I'll get in trouble if I say that wrong. Highland Homestead, Eva, welcome. Enjoyed your video this morning on being a railroad wife. That was parts of it were cute, parts of it were interesting and informative. So we got all right, so let's move on. So we got some shout outs that I want to do tonight. So we got from, if you guys have not been to Suburban Homesteading, Wyoming, it's a really interesting channel, very diverse channel. Sandy does a lot of, she's been in here from time to time, some cooking, some canning, some crafts. She's an artist. She's got a fairly substantial social media presence, both on Facebook, doing art and selling art. But she splits her time between Wyoming in the summers and Arizona in the winters. Now, right now, she's down in Arizona. Sandy featured our channel on her what she calls her Monday Night Hot Seat. And it's channels that she has found and interacted with that she has enjoyed. And she featured us on one of those Monday Night Hot Seats, and we're really, really appreciative. And I told her we're going to send her a shirt like I do every week for our guests. And I got this great card in the mail this week, a thank you card. And this is like a lost art. And I have to say that I'm as guilty. I just think it's a really cool thing that people take the time to acknowledge and thank people for the gifts that they're given. And I'm just as guilty. I don't do that. I've kind of gotten into the bad habit, I think, of doing emails and so impersonal, but time is a thing, and you got to try to do the best you can with the time you got. But I really, really appreciated that from Sandy. And those of you that have been, that are not, I know there's a few really newer channels in here, but there's some channels that have been around for several months. Well, back in the early fall, there was a collaboration between then Southern Life Homestead, Ed, who's now, I believe, Southern Woodworking. I forget the channel name, but he since changed his channel name. But it was a collaboration between Southern Life Homestead and MB Heritage Farm. And it was called the Fall Barbecue Cook-Off. And like anytime I'm going to get involved in a cooking, particularly barbecue, there's going to be some smack talk involved because, frankly, in my humble opinion, I'm a pretty good barbecuer and smoker. I don't, the other things that I cook might not be as good, but I know my way around the grill. So I joined that and I smoked never heard of it, but I thought it would be interesting. I smoked a corned beef brisket and it was really, really good. So in the process of all the smack talk, we coined the term for Ed at Southern Life Homestead as Little Eddie Teddy. Well, Michael at MB Heritage Farm is an artist. And if you've watched any of their videos, he's a really good artist. So he does multi, I don't know what you call it, multi-mediums or different mediums of art. And one of them is he put together this plaque because we coined the term Little Eddie Teddy. And Michael did this drawing and then etched it, burned it, and then sent this plaque to us for kind of supporting them in the Fall Barbecue Cook-Off. So I thought
we didn't get the real plaque. We didn't get the winning plaque.
Yeah,
but this is.
I even called them out when we did our recipe that you can just send the plaque to me. You don't even have to vote. And I didn't get the plaque, but I did get the Little Eddie Teddy acknowledgement. So, Michael, thank you, sir. I got this. Really, really appreciate it. And then I'm going to hang this out in my workshop. So that's where this is going to be because I'm actually starting. And we'll probably do a video in the next week or so on this. I'm actually taking a section of my workshop and I'm dedicating it to stickers and memorabilia from other channels that I get provided. So I've got a Walsh Farms sticker. I've had that from Tony, and so far I have a Hat Creek Homestead sticker that I was sent. And so those two, along with my little Eddie Teddy, will go on my YouTube content channel or creator channel, hall, wall, fame, whatever I'm going to call it.
I don't know. We'll come up with something cool to call it.
Something creative, but that'll be fun. So I also want to do a huge shout out to all the moderators. We've got a bunch of them in here tonight. So we got Simply Jan Homestead, Highland Homestead, Paula Wells, Petway Family Farmstead, although they're not, James is not in here tonight. You know, keep praying for his wife, Angela. You know, she's kind of up and down depending upon, you know, which week it is, but she had surgery last week. And what I'm understanding is that she come out of that okay. But keep praying for them. We got Walsh Farms, Tony, you know, excellent work. So Tony did another, I love Tony's agricultural videos where he talks about equipment and processing of stuff. And he put one on last few days on hauling peanuts to market. So how that all works, pretty interesting. The Adventures of Frank and Tina, Ed's Attention Detail, and lastly, Getting It Done North of 7.
Rolling.
So I haven't seen Roland in here tonight. But,
I haven't either.
He'd probably roll in at some point. He's in here most of the time. So
Dad,
yes.
what's on your head?
Yeah, that's becoming your thing, isn't it?
What is that?
So this is another one of my hats from the USS Samuel B. Roberts. Now, the USS Roberts was a ship of the same class that I served on, the USS Boone, over my head. Same class of ship. It was FFG 58. It was decommissioned in 2015. But the reason I'm wearing the hat and the reason I have it is that on April 14th, 1988, Roberts was underway en route to refueling rendezvous in the Persian Gulf, and it struck an Iranian-laid naval vessel mine. Blew a 15-foot hole in the vessel, which flooded the engine room and knocked the two M2500 gas turbine engines off their mounts. So literally wrecked the engine room. It also broke the keel of the vessel. Now, if you don't know the keel of the vessel, it runs from stem to stern. It would be the equivalent of your spine in a human. It's where all of your ribs would attach. And that's what a keel is for a ship. It broke the keel in half. By all accounts, the ship should have sank. It did not. By miracle, there were no sailors killed in that attack. 10 sailors were medevaced as a result of that mine. However, of those 10 that were medevaced, 6 of them were returned to duty to the Roberts to continue serving within 2 days. Just absolutely amazing. Four of the casualties were burn victims that were sent to Germany for treatment and ongoing treatment. But again, miraculously, no one lost their life in that attack, which is just absolutely stunning that there was no loss of life. So always want to remember all of those sailors and other service members, Marines, Air Force airmen, and Army soldiers serving in and around the world. You know, our liberties and way of life depend on you. So thank you much. So we have tonight our most recent guest to our live stream. Rick,
who is it? It is Micro Farmer.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
What's
Thank
going
you
on, man?
for having me on here.
You are welcome, sir. So those of you that don't know Micro Farmer, I think most people in here probably do, because I don't see any names in here that I don't think would kind of be in the same circles that Micro Farmer I see him in. But this is Homer,
Yes.
with otherwise known as AKA Micro Farmer. So Arkansas woodcutter. So this is already starting here. Homer says, Micro Farmers say ruined his life. Who knows what this shed warrior will do next. His channel, and leave a comment after full watch.
Oh, man,
I
that's
was
wood
wondering
cutter.
if you were going to be here because we got a message from Jess that's saying you're going to be late, and I'm like, is he going to be late for the 7:15 thing or late for the 7 o'clock thing? So I'm glad you made it.
I was on the highway, and it seemed like everybody wanted to slow down.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Every evening I get on the interstate, and it's hit or miss as to whether or not. So I used to go one way, and it's the major loop around Jacksonville, Florida, and it's like flipping a coin, 50-50 shot whether there's going to be an accident somewhere on that loop. So I just stopped going that way like 2 years ago. Now it's a longer route, but it's much less stressful, and there's fewer stupid people.
Yes, Paul.
So
Paul, from the beginning.
All right. Well, Homer, tell us about yourself. Tell your adoring fans.
Let me see. Okay. Originally born in the Bronx and raised in the Bronx.
All right, for those of you that are not familiar with the Bronx, that's what people from New York say instead of saying they're from New York City.
Oh, okay. It's a county in New York City. But I think the Bronx is well known across the world. There were several movies made about the Bronx Tales with a whole bunch of people. De Niro, the Bronx Tales.
I feel the same exact way about Baker County. It is world renowned. I mean, everybody knows about it.
Yeah,
so Baker County.
Yeah, Bronx.
And then the ones that have been here, they don't even say Baker; they say Biker. Baker County.
I grew up Homer in Western New York, and for my entire life, if I would, after I left home, obviously, and as an adult, they'd say, "Well, where are you from?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm from New York." They said, "I'd love to go to New York someday." And when they make that comment, I know they're talking about the city, because there's no other part of New York State that even exists outside of those 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Then I moved up here 7 years ago, and went on a trip to a farm up here with my girls, and they wanted chickens, and we got six chickens in the beginning, and that's how we started out. And from there we had 6, then 12. Then I got some raised beds, and I started doing some raised beds, just doing something. I retired, so I was giving myself something to do with my daughters and just be out here before they went to school. And from there, it's just been regular backyard gardening and raising 6 to 12 chickens every year since then.
Cool.
And then I got invited by Arkansas Woodcutter to Shed Wars, and I got into Shed Wars 2020. But originally, how I got started on YouTube was I don't know if anybody's familiar with them, is Lazy Acres Homestead.
Yeah.
So they're the ones started me. I'm originally from Lazy Acres Family Farm. Lazy Acres Homestead Farm, so family group. So they're the ones that told me to start a YouTube channel. So that's how I got my start in the YouTube, doing the farming and the gardening stuff. It was through Lazy Acres, and then after Lazy Acres, it was Arkansas Woodcutter and the Homestead Aquarius and John from Willet Grow and Voon. And
you got
Paul,
like a fan club, because they're like all in. Well, I don't see John in here yet, so you got like a fan club that just follows you around then, because Mark was in here and Voon's in here.
Yeah, Simply Jan, Highland, everybody there. Twin Brooks, Barmer Steve. He adopted me. Barmer Steve is from Australia. He adopted me as Ozzy, but then he disowned me because I'm a Patriots fan.
Oh, John is in here. John is in here. So you got your whole. You're like you got like fanboys and girls.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. It's been. The 11 months that I've been on YouTube has been great. I have met a lot of great people, and I have the great ups and sometimes the downs about YouTube, being popular. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've been showing people the real way of backyard. You don't need a lot of space. That's why microfarming came in, because I have a small yard. It's a backyard. I'm in the suburbs. I'm not in the city, but I'm in the suburbs. And small yard, and I was just wanting to show people the real thing about just growing organically, no chemicals, small yard, small space, and just showing transparency. Like you're gonna show the failures and the ups and downs of gardening in your backyard.
Well, that was one of my questions that I saw from going through like some of your older videos, because there was I'll get to it. So you did a video, and it was toward one of the first ones that you did. I can't remember what you called yourself, but it was a video on free stuff that you get from big box stores.
Oh, the Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter.
Free stuff. Yeah.
And you'd gotten some Miracle Grow and then some stuff like that. But in there you said, I know some people say don't use Miracle Grow, because it's got chemicals in it, but I'm not growing organic. But you are now growing organic. So you've kind of shifted?
No. What happened was when COVID hit, where I'm at the big box, I'm not giving it, the big box stores, I learned they have to move stuff out for new shipments, right? And the flowers and the plants and certain things, they was just throwing in dumpsters to send to the landfill.
Oh, okay.
Because they had to make room for the new stocks they ordered, like these big corporations order from these companies like Bonnie, and stuff was coming in and nobody was going shopping in my area. So they was just throwing the stuff in the dumpsters. I mean, they had a forklift and was dumping mulch, Miracle Growth, plants, sod. They were just throwing in the garbage, and brand new windows. They were just throwing in the dumpsters because they was waiting for the new shipment. The new shipments coming in, so they have no space. So I wasn't trying to be greedy, but I took a few that the manager was like, "You want it? Go ahead and take it." So I brung some. I don't have a lot of space. I wish I had an acre here, but I didn't. So I just took as much as I could to plant and show people that you could take almost dead plants and revive them. And some of them did come back. I got a few trees also. I have 7 trees now. I had none. I got 7. I have 3 apples, 2 peaches, 2 pears. I have 3 blueberry bushes, and I have 1 Concord grape and growing. And,
wow. I wish we could do grapes down, or that we can do the we can do grapes down here, but we can't do Concord grapes. There is no grape that tastes better, in my opinion, than a New York State grown Concord grape. I guess Connecticut would probably be the same.
Yeah.
Boy, are those good. I mean, and you can't get them down here. All the grapes in Florida, muscadine is what they can grow down here, or derivatives of that. But you can't get Concord. It's hard to find Concord grapes down here. I can't say I never get them, but they're not fresh. They've been in a warehouse from up somewhere up north, and they sat in a warehouse for 2 weeks and they're starting to get soft. And I just love them because the skin just kind of peels off of them. And I just like eating the skin separate from the grape. It's really, really good. Love them, love them, love them.
So yeah, so that's what I was trying to do, show people that you can do a lot of stuff on the cheap. Show them how to compost, make their own compost with the stuff they have around. Things about chickens. I have 31 chickens, and I show people how to. You don't have to be an expert at chickens, because chickens usually, once you get them going, they autopilot. But at the same time, you have to feed them correctly. So a lot of time the feed can come expensive. So what I do with my chickens, when I cut my grass, I don't use no pesticide and all like that in my grass. And when I cut my grass, whatever catches in the bag, I throw that into the chickens, so they have the bugs, the fleas, the ticks, whatever. And I do let them free range every now and then, but they got into the garden this year, so I had to keep them inside until next year.
Yeah, Skinner Farm says, I have Concord grapes in Indiana. So you in Skinner Farms, are you in northern or southern Indiana? Because you can grow them up north, and I just don't know how far south you can grow them, but you certainly can't grow them down here because it's just too hot. You don't get the chill hours you need to get the sweetness of that fruit. So
I'm gonna leave on this note because I just got a call from work. Arkansas Woodcutter says micro farmer eats chicken skins to stay keto.
Oh man!
Oh, he's shooting. All right,
shooting from the hip. He's shooting from the hip.
He is. Pow. But hey, man, I wish I could stay, but
Thanks,
duty call. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You got to leave. Yeah. Is it emergency? Yeah. All right. So you only got me tonight.
That's okay. I'm fine with anybody.
Well, see if Lala's down there. See if she wants to come up. So there was a question in here from Kid Family Farm. Mac wanted to know, let me find it here. How is the square footage? How is the square foot garden working out for you?
Oh, I never done it. So I have watched other YouTubers and other people showing how the square footage. So the square footage I'm going to do this year. It's the first time I ever done it. So I'm going to show people that, and I'm going to be using I think in my videos I explained that Haas Tools is a sponsor of Shed Wars. So they have sent I'm gonna say the woodcutter, Aquarius, and John seeds to distribute out among the participants of 2020 Shed Wars.
All right.
So this year I'm going to dedicate my 4x16 raised bed to all Haas Tools seeds that they were sent to us.
Oh, very cool.
So the way I did it was I'm going to use a square foot method in doing that garden. Never done it, so I never tried, but it's supposed to get so many pounds of food from a square footage. So I believe Jules small garden said he had got about 1.5 or 1.56 pounds of food out of a square foot footage. So I'm gonna try to repeat that too, or get better than him. So I know he's gonna say something in a minute, but
we'll that's what when we get our garden going this year, it's been probably 8, maybe 9 years, maybe even longer than that, since I've gardened. I mean, I used to garden. I started gardening when I was in my mid-teens and did all the way up until I moved, well, even after I moved out to where we live now. But, it's just been hard to kind of maintain a garden and work and do all that stuff. We've been growing infrastructure for the farm itself. So the garden has just been put on the back burner. And I told everybody in my family that that's my mission this winter is to get that ready. And so that's going to happen. So, and that's what I use as a square foot gardening method. And it's worked well for me in the past when I did it. You don't have the large, wide rows that you would have in a traditional garden. So there's less area for weeds to crop up. And if you're truly using that method of gardening, you're using a very specific soil. You're not using ground soil that has some weed seed in it. It's a combination of, I think vermiculite, peat moss, and mulch, and it's mixed in equal parts. And that approach kind of helps keep those weed seeds out of it. That and having the vegetables and everything clustered tightly together. So that will be the method that I'm using this year. So I'll be doing some videos on that as well as we get back into the gardening, because that's one of the things that I truly enjoy. And if it doesn't come across on our channel, I don't do a whole lot with the goats. That's Lala's thing. I do mostly chickens and gardening, and then kind of the infrastructure stuff. So, and the one lacking thing has been the gardening, because we just haven't been able to get to that yet. So, well, that's cool. So you have not used that method in the past, because I looked at the one video. You've got your strings all laid out and everything.
Yep, I have done.
Now, are you going to be, so at a traditionalist, if they're doing square foot garden, you're going to leave your strings attached to your bed. You're going to leave them there, or you're going to take them off?
No, I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to leave them there so I don't mess up. So I'm going to give Haas Tools a fair shot. And then I'm going to put my regular stuff on the side. I have 26 buckets coming up, and I probably put some more buckets out in the front of my yard here. So I'll probably have about maybe 60 buckets at the end of the garden season. The season, when it starts, I have about 60 buckets. I'm going to go crazy with the bucket. I'm going to try to grow everything in buckets. Collard greens, kale. I done picked up so much stuff, tomatoes. So I'm going to go all out on this Shed Wars 2021. So
you're going to have just the Haas seeds in the bed, and then everything else in buckets?
In the biggest bed, which I have the biggest bed, which is a 4 foot by 16 feet. All that's going to be Haas Tools. All the rest of the beds will be, regular big box stores, heirlooms, seeds, and stuff like that.
See, if you use the New England Patriots definition of goat, John, I really appreciate that. Because that would mean Tom Brady, the GOAT, is the greatest of all time. So, John, I thank you for your compliment, sir.
But he's not a Patriots fan. He's a Bill.
I don't care, but I'm just rubbing it in. Well, he's got a lot to cheer for if he's a Bills fan. Holy mackerel. That surprised the crap out of me. All right. So you posted your first video, May 17th of 2020. What was it?
My first video was, oh man, I changed it because I came up. It was oh my God, I forgot myself what it was.
It was your Shed Wars intro.
Yeah. Okay. It originally wasn't a Shed Wars intro. It wasn't, but it was part of it. Yeah, because when I shot that video, Shed Wars had started, and I changed the title to my Shed Wars. Yeah, exactly. But originally it wasn't, but I turned it into a Shed Wars video. I think Arkansas got on my case about that because I done put about 4 of my first videos as Shed Wars, and I was doing it all wrong. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah.
Well, I see Darren was getting on to folks in the Southern Hemisphere about tagging, make sure everything is appropriately tagged and not overdoing it and all that stuff. So lots of rules. I know rules are necessary. So since then, you've done 163 videos, total of 14,000 views and 629 subscribers, right?
Wow.
So
I ain't checked the numbers since I got in here, but that's okay. You checking them for me? I don't been checking.
I always try to check out the channel that we're having on, earlier in the day to kind of see where they're at and kind of do the deep dive into some of their. I like to look at the older content and then look at the newer stuff and kind of compare and contrast. That's why it kind of stuck out to me when you showed that video about, I got all this free stuff, but I don't care. I'm not doing organic gardening. And then in the more recent stuff, you are doing organic gardening. So I think at some point he had an epiphany and said, I'm changing over. It's kind of how it come across to me.
Oh, because at the beginning, I didn't know what it really meant.
Right.
And then I realized I was using my own compost from my own leaves and grass cuttings that I had it in the space. In my videos, you'll see the big pile went away. So I use all my compost over 3-4 years of compost into the bed. So that's organic. So, and I wasn't using nothing but the Miracle Growth. I had used that, what's called permaculture. I had some logs that was cut down in my backyard. A tree was cut down. And I just saw, I think I was watching the bull garden. And he had some, and I had a small 2 trees. And I just pulled them over there and put some branches in there. And then that's when I got the Miracle Growth soil and the topsoil. And I just mixed that all in to what I used to call them the orphanage, the freebies, the plants. Right. I call them orphanage. And I put them there and they thrive. It was some Japanese eggplants, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, some bell peppers. It was a few things that I got from there, and they a lot of them survived, and the eggplants survived. So I was surprised. But I normally plant seeds. I don't buy plants from the big box stores. I usually go for seeds. If you see behind me, behind me there, and you saw the last video I put up, I showed you the trays. Thing behind me is a grow box that I built. I got to go the opposite way. That I built. And I'm going to improve that. I brought some grow lights to start my seedlings. I'm probably going to do that.
It's amazing some of the means that folks go through to build some of this stuff and how much money they put into it. I mean, I've got a rack that I use for seed starts. It's been in my garage now for since we moved into this house 5 years ago, that has never been even turned on. But it's nothing more than a Walmart metal frame with I think they're like $12 fluorescent light fixtures. And then I've got one light that's the blue light spectrum and another one for brightness to give the combination of lumens and Kelvin that I need to kind of stimulate the photosynthesis in the plant. So the whole thing probably cost me $50. I see people spending $300-400 on these stands. The most expensive single component was a timer that I hooked all of my lights into. That's the most expensive component. It was like $14.
Wow, yeah. I try to do things on the cheap and show the stuff on the cheap. So I definitely try to do that on the cheap. Like back there, those trays were at $5.25 a tray. So that's $20. The light sets were $11 a piece. I got 4 of them. The peat moss and the bone, all that altogether was like $100 altogether. That will get my growth season going for next season. So
see, when I've done seed starts in the past, I just use a whatever kind of tray. I used to have a bread tray. I don't even know where that went anymore. But I just use solo cups. When poke a hole in the bottom of it, and you know, I can get them for next to nothing. You know, 50 of them. And
so the reason why I went those trays there, right, is because I do have the trays you're talking about, but they won't fit in that box I got back there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna get 72 cells in each one of those trays. If I had 72 cups, it'll just take over that little box.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna put the little cells in. I get 72, and plus I can manage it much better. So all those trays right there will fit on there. So 72 times 4, we had 200 something plants easily. Well over 200 plants can be planted in that small space right there. It's going to be 200 plants in that small space starting. So 72 cups would have took the whole place over.
Yeah, folks, if you see a question in here, if one of the moderators can kind of point it out to me, because little Rick had to go back to work. He's on call 24 hours a day. So he had an emergency where he works and had to go back into work. So he's not here to kind of monitor questions and everything. So I'm trying to watch them while I'm listening to Homer. But if something pressing comes up, just be percent. Put it in all caps, like you're yelling at me, and I will know that that's a question. That way, that will stick out. Mark says, Microfarmer made one mistake. Got to get the Bootstrap Farmer heavy duty 1020 trays. I've seen those, Mark. Those are heavy. I mean, a lot of that stuff that you get for seed starts, they're them little flimsy plastic things, you know, and if you get 2 seasons out of them, you're lucky, because they just don't last. And that's why I stopped buying those, and I've got some. I've got lots of stuff that I've collected over the years.
Yeah, I have those, but I'm saying in here, this is what I'm saying in the house.
Yeah.
But I have those to go. I have the big ones for the greenhouse when it gets warm enough to go out, and I'll start using them in the greenhouse that I made.
Yeah, Petway Family Farmstead. Little Rick had an emergency at work, so he had to get off and go back to work. You know, he's for those of you who don't know, he's a locksmith, and so when there's an emergency, there's an emergency. So that's what he does for work. So he had to split. So I went into your intro, Homer, and it says, you don't need to be, or no, these are some statements that you made in your Micro Farmer Intro Shed Wars 2020 video. You don't need to be an expert to do these kinds of things. You still stand by that statement?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And this is the one that I can appreciate this, because this is kind of, you know, I think I was communicating with John from Will It Grow on one of these lives in the last few weeks. And, you know, I said, you know, Frank, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of the ins and outs about the metabolism, feeding, fertilizing, and what plants need what, because I've taken the approach of the comment that you made in that first video that says, just put seeds in the ground and see what happens. And, you know, and that's worked for me. Now, it hasn't worked. You know, people say that it's really easy to grow tomatoes. Well, I have not found it easy to grow tomatoes, because that's one of the ones that every year I seem to lose tomatoes, and I've never grown successfully an ear of corn. But certain things, I think, I mean, I just don't know how you can screw them up. Cucumbers, squash, pumpkin, zucchini. You know, there's certain vegetables that just, you know, just carrots, onions.
To believe it or not, Lala, before some of these gardens made me sick of tomatoes. I refuse to like have a garden full of tomatoes, because it seems like every gardener, that's all they grow, tomatoes. And I'm like, how much tomatoes can y'all eat? It's phenomenal. They will have about 30 tomato plants in their gardens, different varieties. And I'm like, you know, so I choose to go around. I'm going to have a few tomatoes. Don't get me wrong. I love the red here. I have these, the red cherry tomatoes. I love those because I'm in the garden. I can pick off them, eat them while I'm gardening, walk around the yard, I'll pick them off the branch. But these are the ones I normally like, you know, that I can pick right off the, you know, right off the vine and eat while I'm in the garden. So, but the beefsteaks, the Romos, I mean, I grew a few and I do give them away to my customers because what happened is I grow so much, and when we sell our eggs, I give the vegetables to our customers with the eggs. So they get the vegetables for free, basically.
Oh, that's cool. I do that with our goat meat because I don't have any of our goats processed at USDA processors. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't do it all the time. I do it for Christmas, for example, my egg customers got their eggs that they paid me for, and then goat sausage and maybe some goat cubes and you know, and they're just elated by getting goat. so they like it.
So I'm not the only one that gives their customers like stuff that's off the farm of the land. Okay.
So Tony Walsh says, "Don't feel bad. I can hundreds of acres of cotton and peanuts and no clue on how to grow a garden." Oh, that's funny. You know, I can grow a garden. I just don't know the ins and outs of, you know, for example, I never just drive and listen to music. I'm always listening to something on YouTube, whether it's channels that I subscribe to or it's watch later lists, you know, so a lot of times I'm listening to channels, but I'm not commenting because I'm driving. But a lot of times I'll just tune into something. Like I was listening to M.I. Gardner. He's a big channel. He's up in Michigan, the thumb of Michigan. And, you know, he was talking about, you know, all the ins and outs of you know, using certain chemicals, not chemicals, I'm saying that, like aspirin, something as simple as giving certain vegetables aspirin and how they work well with it. I think it was tomatoes. Yeah. And some other ones, ammonia. And just that's the stuff that I just don't know with all the ins and outs of any of that stuff. I just put them in the ground. You know, when they need water, I water them, and hopefully something comes out. So that's what I really need to learn is how all of that stuff interacts. So it's not that I don't know anything about gardening. I've grown a garden a long, long time, but I just do what has worked, which is exactly your philosophy. Just put seeds in the ground and see what happens. Yeah, it's worked well for me. So you're on 1/3 of an acre. So that's about a typical city block.
No, I'm on a 0.03. My backyard is about 100 by 60, 65, 100 feet by 65 feet.
Wow.
And I have 7 fruit trees, a chicken coop that a shed was turned into a chicken coop, a chicken run, and on the side of the house is probably another 60 feet by 12, which I have the side of the house, which is the raised bed that you see. If you look at my videos, that's where the 4x16 beds are. So I'm working with a small spot. I mean, there's people work with smaller spots than I have, but yeah, and I got to keep the grass, and everybody keep getting on my case about I have too much grass in my backyard, but I have a wife who entertains the doctors and the other nurses from her job. So I have to make the yard look presentable when her colleagues come and have a drink. Because on the other side of the house is an outside bar, outside kitchen that you don't too much see. So
the private space.
See that side of the house, yeah. So and I would say it's a blessing with COVID because I'm supposed to have built this new fire pit for them, but since COVID, nobody could come visit, so the fire pit has been put on delay, but I'll be doing that this spring. I'll definitely be doing a new fire pit. So you'll be seeing me building this fire pit for the wife and her friends.
Oh, cool.
And I think keto, homesteading with Jess and the kid called the Beehive and Southern Wood. They got me to get some quails. I'm buying some quails this season. So I'm going to be adding onto the side of my chicken run a quail spot for quails. So I am going to raise quails this season coming up.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So that's not something that I've ever even contemplated. And there's a lot of folks out there that are doing quail, a lot of folks that are doing rabbits. And frankly, it's not that I dislike rabbit. I grew up on rabbit. I grew up in a very, very poor family. So we ate.
Hey, rabbits ain't for poor people. Now I just cooked the rabbit.
No, I'm not saying that. But we didn't eat a whole lot of beef because beef was the most expensive thing that they could buy. So we ate a lot of squirrel, we ate a lot of rabbit, and we ate a lot of fish, and we had venison. So that's really what our refrigerator or freezer was packed with. We ate very little beef. It wasn't until I got married or went in the Navy that I started eating a lot of beef. So I kind of ate enough rabbit and squirrel growing up to last me a lifetime, I think, and I frankly don't know that I could get away with processing a rabbit with my granddaughter because she would never forgive me because she just loves rabbits.
It's so funny you said it because the rabbits and the squirrels and the fish is what I tend to, levitate to with my dog because we was in Georgia. We caught squirrels, we caught rabbit, and we went to the fishing hole and fish. So, I mean, wow. I mean, it's like you said, you grew up on that, and I'm saying, hey, I like that stuff.
No, I grew up on that. We would go on a fishing trip up into northern New York every year for a week, and really all we would do is fish, and we'd bring home 2 or 3 coolers of fish from that week, and that's what we would have. So my mother could cook fish in any form or fashion you could imagine.
Yeah, I remember those days going fishing. As I said, I know you
I think you asked the question the last couple of weeks on one of the lives, had anyone ever had eel? Was that you?
Oh yeah. Oh, love eel. Because see, I grew up in a mixed neighborhood, so we had a lot of Italians, and a lot of my friends were Italians, and we used to catch the eels, and they used to use the eels, and they cook delicious. They put them in tomato, and they have the spaghetti and the Italian, but the Italians love the eel, so that's how I got to start to like eel because we never ate them, but we'll give them to the Italian families when we came back from fishing,
right?
And they will skin them, and they'll make they'd be in tomato sauce, based in tomato sauce and baked and stuff like that. So that's how I got to learn to eat eels.
Well, my mother, I caught an eel, or I don't remember who caught it, but someone in the family caught an eel one year, and she would not throw a fish back. If she caught it, it was going to be cleaned and processed. And so she caught this eel, and it's first eel she'd ever caught. She didn't even know what it was, other than it wrapped around her pole when she was trying to get it off the hook. And so she kept it, never told my father. We come back home, and she cut it up, and I remember distinctly watching her fry this thing in the frying pan because it wiggles in the frying pan. And so she fried it up like you would cook sausage and put it into spaghetti sauce.
Okay,
my dad says, "Boy, this is really good sausage." What is it? He was never the wiser.
But it is I'm gonna believe, because the only people I know who could cook it delicious is Italians. I mean, I had a lot of Italian friends and German friends because I grew up in a mixed neighborhood, and that was around us. So definitely they have cooked them in tomato sauce, like you said. Your mom had cooked it into spaghetti sauce or whatever that you had, and it's delicious. Sometimes they have it with spaghetti. Sometimes they'll have it some type of rice, and we also start frying it also. But it was illegal to throw an eel back if you caught an eel where I was at. I mean, the Westchester area. If you're from, New York, the Westchester area. If you caught an eel, it was illegal to throw it back in the fresh water because somehow they was invasive.
Yeah.
And once you caught them, you could not throw them back. If the game warden would see that you threw that eel back, you got a fine. Once you caught that eel, you had to keep it, kill it, and just lay it on the side for the animals to get it, like the raccoons or whatever. But we brought it home and we gave it to the families that we lived nearby.
Paragon Ridge Ranch says, Microfarmer, I used to watch the ferry that left Port Jeff, I guess North Long Island. Goes to Connecticut. Are you anywhere near that?
Right there. Me and the girls, we go across over there. It's a beautiful, Port Jeff is beautiful. We go over there to eat. We go to the beaches over there. So Long Island, that section is a nice section that we do go. Me and the girls and the family, we go over there, have like a evening out on the other side of the Long Island Sound. Yes. So we do go over there. It's a beautiful, you know what it looks like? You ever seen the Jaws? That little nice town, the little town with nice restaurants. Yeah, it's a small, beautiful town like that.
Cool. Yeah. We got some comments in here. We're looking for. So, Homer, would you happen to have any hairless sheep?
Hairless sheep.
Yeah, Jan's looking for hairless sheep, apparently. So there's Jan's advertisement.
You never knew it was a hairless sheep, but they're hairless cats. I wouldn't be surprised.
That kind of defeats the purpose, I think, of having a sheep. So,
but I wouldn't be surprised now. I wouldn't be surprised that it's been made in a lab, a hairless sheep. You have a skinless, would you have a hairless cat, right?
All right, I've seen those before. All right, so your description says this channel is about giving tips and suggestions on how to do backyard farming, from backyard to table grow your own, eat your own. So it's kind of what we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. So now you had talked about previously about a new venture that you were doing. Is that still on the table?
Yeah, that's still on the table. So I started a new channel. Well, I'm planning to start. Well, there's already in the makes in the channel, so I was going to reveal it here. It's called Twin Hooks. It's about me taking a used boat and refurbishing it and going out in the Long Island Sound fishing. So that channel is called Twin Hooks Fishing. So Twin Hooks Fishing is up. The logo's up. And so if anybody wants to subscribe to it, there's no video on it, right? There's one video on it. I did a test because you have to publish it, to get it started, you have to put a video. Somehow YouTube made me make a video because when you look for it, you couldn't find it because I didn't have nothing on it. So I put a test video on it. So it's just with me saying testing. So if you want to go over, anybody want to subscribe to it, I think my first video on that show, I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to do a fishing giveaway. So if anybody's into fishing, I'm probably going to do like a bass shop type of giveaway for myself, that live.
Well, Rick was really looking forward to that discussion, so I'm sure he's kind of bummed that he's not here to talk fishing with you, because he loves fishing. He just doesn't do it as much as he would want to. So, Jan, Tony Walsh says, why would you want a hairless sheep? That's what I asked too.
Where's a hairless sheep? I never heard of that.
Jan says they're cold hardy. Well, they ain't got no hair. I don't know how they'd be hardy.
Is she pulling our tails here on this one? Is it really a hairless sheep?
I don't know.
Sheep, a hairless sheep.
I don't know. Seems weird to me.
But yes, but going back to the boat now, for anybody who want to know, the boat is a 22.5-foot aqua sport boat. I'm going to be refurbishing it. And John from Willie Grow, he hooked me up with a company in New York, probably somewhere near you. I mean, where you grew up at, the west side of New York. And it's where I can get a good motor for it. So look out for that. And I'm definitely going to be doing that from scratch. And I'm a kid from the Bronx, never owned a boat, never repaired a boat, never did no fiberglass work. So I've been making that funny joke about either you're going to see me float or sink in the Long Island Sound. So we'll see.
Brian at Castle Hive says there's a hairless micro farmer. Why not sheep?
Yeah, I'm going bald too.
There's a whole bunch of folks that have come in here that I have not greeted, so I apologize for that. My co-host Lil Rick got called into work, so their whole Resonance Homestead, Jandira, Petley Family Farmstead. So there's a gardening, and there's a bunch of you in here. So I apologize if we have not been able to kind of shout you out tonight, but I don't have my counterpart to kind of monitor stuff tonight. So my apologies. So Homer, you got any closing comments or kind of thoughts or points of wisdom to
Yes, I would like to say, when I see the comments here, because I can't see all the comments, I'm not good at reading like that real quick. I would like to thank everybody that's here. I'm subscribed to it. See, everybody that's in this chat right now, I am subscribed to. So thank y'all for making this community a great community. Lala, thank you for helping out small channels. Thank you. God bless you and your family. I like to say, everybody, just keep the light in front of you. Stay positive. Watch all our channels, and it seems like everybody here is great people. I have not seen one bad person in here because I'm subscribed to mostly. I'm subscribed to everybody in here. As I'm looking at everybody, I'm subscribed. So keep your heads up, and please do not let the negativity of YouTube get you down. It didn't get me down. I was just burned out. But I did make a comment because a few people have issues. I don't know why, but when you do great things, the bad comes with it sometimes. I think Lala would know that. He might hear little things. You try to do good things, and people ask you, why do you do these things? And what are you getting out of it? There's nothing for me to get out but happiness. That's all I do. So
Yeah.
if anybody follow me.
Frankly, I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I can relate to the negativity thing. What I do for my work is in my professional work, I'm a hired expert, and I get hired by attorneys to do the type of work that I do. So every time I do a new case, the attorney on the other side is telling me how stupid I am, essentially, and I got no business doing this, and I'm wrong, and how can you say this and that? So, I learned a long time ago, and it doesn't matter, because an attorney on one day, they'll say this they'll give me a case, and the next day they're telling me how wrong I am. So it's really kind of hypocritical, but I learned a long time ago. I just let things roll off my back, because at the end of the day, I'm still going home to my house. I'm still going home to my family. And this little thing that I call work is just for a short period of my life. And, the rest of it just don't matter. Do what you feel is right. And that's what I close every time I have a session, whether it's a video or a live stream. I close it out with the same exact thing. And they're words that I live by, which is treat others as you would like to be treated. And if you don't do that, then I think Tony Walsh in one of his Friday morning or tailgate Fridays or Friday tailgates. So it's the message that he delivers every Friday morning. It's something that I've taught my children, and they've used it on their friends, and it's kind of thought provoking, because every time you point a finger at someone else, you got 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. So just be careful what you say. If you wouldn't say it to the person to their face, you probably shouldn't say it at all. And it's getting along with people is just not that complex. It's pretty simple.
Everybody help everybody, but it is what it is. But I tell everybody, keep your head up, and everybody, thank y'all for coming in, supporting Lala Farms, and everybody here that supports everybody channel here, because I see a lot of y'all. It's a great community, y'all. It's a great community. Thank y'all so much for stopping by and showing the love for Micro Farm and Lala Farm. So thank you so much, Lala Farm, for having me here today. So thank you.
Homer, this was fun, sir. I enjoyed it. And wish you the best of luck in Shed Wars. And I think somebody called it, you've got I think they said a harem that follows you. I don't know if maybe it's not harem. It's you've got groupies that follow you around. So you got John, you got John, you got Mark in here. I didn't see Robert from Homestead Aquarius. I don't think he might have been in here.
Hello, Lori's World. You just made it, Lori's World. We almost finished with Lori Wells. She's from British Columbia. Yeah. Thank you, Lori World, for coming in. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Homer, you take care, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless y'all. Stay safe.
Well, thanks. Bye. All right. So now you got my mug to wrap this thing up. So next week we got Brian in here from Castle Hives. That'll be interesting. That's going to be unique in that we haven't had a dedicated beekeeping channel on here yet. So that will be the first one. Brian was in here tonight. He's in here from time to time. Got a great channel. So any of you that are beekeepers or want to be keepers or are fledgling beekeepers or like me, kind of like beekeeper killers or bee killers, I've killed a lot more bees than I've raised. So far I've driven 4 hives of bees out of their hives. So I will catch 2 more swarms next year, and I'll give it another whirl. So that's what I've been for the last 2 years. So we got Castle Hives next week, and then 127, we have the Dusty Goat Homestead. That is a very small channel out of the Panhandle of Florida. That'll be, it's a very small channel. 2/3/21, we've got Hickory Croft Farm, and then on February 10th, we have Conrad Homestead.
At the present time, I'm also booked out. We've got 3 more, but I'm giving it a break for putting new channels on there because, you know, sometimes I've run into it twice now where the channel is kind of, they've contacted me when they're small and then they just kind of blow up. And by the time they would have been on, you know, they're not, they wouldn't qualify for the 1,000 word. Rick and I are kind of looking at how we're going to revamp that if we are in the future and how we can kind of include some larger channels in there as they grow. Just to kind of highlight some additional channels as well. We're trying to figure out the logistics of how we're going to do that in a fashion that's fair and really kind of continues to support the integrity of the mission that we are, which is to help smaller channels grow and kind of highlight homesteading and all of those things that go into that, whether that's beekeeping, whether that's goat keeping, chicken tending, anything that goes into that. So, in the next few weeks, I will be announcing how we're going to revamp that. I just don't know yet. I don't know what Rick's doing for a tech session this week because he did not tell me. We've got still got our merch up. He hasn't put in the new shirt, but I think he says he's working on one that has to do with I think if you saw the video where we put in where I was cleaning up the water barrel and Madeline come out and she said that I was going to get la-la'd. So Rick's working on a design for a shirt where it basically says don't get la-la'd. So I think that's pretty cute. All right, let's give away a shirt. Shirt or a $10 Amazon gift card. I didn't see Roland in here tonight. I completely forgot to contact Roland last week because he won our giveaway last week, and I just forgot to contact him, and I did it today. So my apologize, Roland, if you watch this replay. This is going to be a really easy one. I think this is going to be gotten very quickly. And again, your choice, either a shirt or a $10 Amazon gift card. And the question is, I haven't seen Michael Harris on here later, but Michael Harris, you're excluded from this because I know you know the answer, and we got to make this fair for everybody. What is our bottle baby goat name? Spelling matters, so the spelling has to be correct. What is our goat bottle baby's name? This one's easy. Eva, I don't know if little Rick, Lori's World, Lori, you are correct. So your shirt is on the way. The problem that I have with your shirt, Lori, is that it's in Canada and I can't figure out how to get Teespring to ship to Canada. So it's being shipped to Jacksonville. I think it went out today. And then I'm going to send it to you via international mail. So do you want I can send you the $10 gift card. That way you can do that pretty quick. Who won the goat count contest? Simply Jan Homestead asks, who won? No, that's the wrong comment. Where's it at? There it is. So Jan wants to know who won the goat contest. The goat contest continues, and here's where we're at with the goats. That's on my list. So we have all of our does have delivered but one. We are still waiting for our Freshner doe Gita to deliver. Now, I don't know what she has in there. I'm guessing it's probably a single because she's not really big, but she has not delivered yet. And right now we are at 29, I believe. I think that's what Lala told me. But the final count is what's going to matter. Once Gita delivers, then we will total up everything. Now we've had 3 of them that had problem births. One of them was born, and we think the mom rolled over on it because it literally flattened the little doeling out, and she was only like that thick. So we think she rolled over on her after she was born. Another one ended up developing a seizure disorder, so we ended up putting that one down. And then the final one, which was born Sunday, was a stillborn. Mom tried to deliver both of them through the birth canal at the same time, and Lala went deep diving into the mama goat and realized that she was feeling the nose of one and the butt of another at the same time. So the rear legs were out on one and the nose on the other. So she ended up pushing one back in, delivered the stillborn, and then the 7-pound buckling popped right out after that. So yeah, she knows her goats. You would not catch me doing that. That was interesting. So that should end hopefully anytime now, and hopefully we can announce next week who the winner of that competition is. So anyone's been watching the shorts over the last week has seen our little bottle baby, Magnus is what we've named him. I know in the video we were calling him Mangus because Madeline kind of got me calling him Mangus, but his name is Magnus. Magnus is what he's been named. And he is a bottle baby because we've got one boar cross that we bred this year. So she is 70% boar, 30% Kiko. And we bred her to a 100% registered Kiko buck. So she had triplets this year. Now that is Madeline's one goat. She owns that goat. And she had triplets. Two of them were 6.5-pound babies, but this third one, another little buckling, weighed in at 3.1 pounds. He could not maintain his body heat, so Lala immediately brought him into the house, put him into a warmer, and basically got him to put on some additional weight, and he's gained about 1.5 pounds in the last week. So he's getting fed 6 times a day by bottle, and he goes to work with us. And so he's become kind of a fixture around here. And I think the argument will be pitched to me very soon that Lala Farm should have a new mascot. And if that motion passes, we will have a mascot named see how easy that is, Magnus. So the shorts have kind of shown Magnus and Madeline doing some physical therapy with him, walking around out where the garden structure is going to be. And last night, he kind of follows our boxer around like she's his own, like he is her baby. And the boxer's kind of adopted him. So Hazel is our boxer, and she just is followed around by this little buckling. And it's just the cutest little thing. So the short that I put out last night kind of shows some of that. So she's licking him as he's nursing on my pinky finger. It's very cute. So we're thinking that as he gets older, he's probably going to walk around the farm with us like he's a dog. That would not surprise me at all, because that's kind of where he's at right now. He just follows Madeline around the house and follows Hazel around the house, and he wants to sit down on our lap. The one problematic area, unless we have a diaper on him, he pees everywhere. So Madeline's actually taken preemie diapers, and he wears a preemie diaper around the house. So pretty cool. Celtic Roots Farm, thank you for joining us tonight. Really, really appreciate it. John says, my pet smokes. Well, I'm not going to introduce him to those bad habits, John. So that's the Magnus update. Already talked about everything else. Some upcoming videos. Rick's gotten some sporadic videos of all of the kids being born. So they're at about the age right now where they're going to start hopping around on all of the tires and containers and stuff that I've got out in the goat yard. So we'll get some video on that. That'll be fun. And then some additional video on the ongoing rat saga that I talked about a little bit tonight. And then hopefully within the next week, I will have the walkthrough of our garden structure that I've been working on essentially for 2 years. I started it last spring, doing the framing on it, and then it got
hot over the summer, so I stopped working on it, and then I started working on it again in October. So it's basically a long structure. It's only 10 foot wide, but it's long, and it's separated into 3 different sections: a greenhouse area, a work area, and then a kind of an implement and tool storage area, stuff that I can get out of my barn, get out of my workshop. Stuff that doesn't have a home right now is going to go in that little storage area. So hopefully that will be done this weekend, everything but the shelving and everything. And that'll be the end of my building projects for this year. Then I can focus on actually getting the beds filled up and get some stuff started. So this has been fun, folks. Thank you, everyone. So we still got 24 people in here. I really, really appreciate everyone spending your evening or part of your evening with us. And I apologize for Rick not being here. So I know we were a little less responsive tonight because normally when he's talking, I'm watching the comments and vice versa. So really appreciate it. And I'm sorry if there wasn't enough shout outs tonight, but it's just really hard to kind of talk, attend to comments, and type at the same time. I can't do it. I know some of you do, and you do it flawlessly. Eva, you do it, and you know, a lot of folks that do these lives by themselves. So I really, really appreciate that. So I'm going to close this out for tonight. And again, thank you all, and always remember, treat others as you would like to be treated. So be well, my friends, and good night.